Hello and welcome to the Cute Baby Tutorials using Gimp. I may do a few things in this video, so if you want to go straight to one of the main sections, then the times they start are shown on your screen now. These videos are also available in higher definition on my website, along with any original files I'm allowed to give you in case you want to work on the same image as me. Just click on the link below. Okay, here we go. Right, I've got a picture here that was taken on a bright sunny day in a country park, and it's got a few problems. Overall, the image is too bright. Around the areas of the coat, it's too deep in the shadows, and the green is way too strong on the grass. We're getting that astroturf effect, which we discussed in the previous video. The reflected light off the grass is causing a greenish cast to the skin, which I don't like. So there's a lot of problems to deal with here. So let's go to curves, see what we can do. The first thing I need to do with this picture is to lower the overall brightness of it. So I'll click on the middle of the curve, drag it down, and there you go, it's getting darker. It's actually making my problems with the coat a little bit worse. They're all getting darker overall. So a handy feature of curves is if I go to outside the dialog box and I click anywhere on the image, I get the little line just here. That's telling me wherever I click how light the pixel under the eye picker is. So if I come to this lighter area here, yeah, you can see the grass is way up on the graph, and this large area of pixels at the lighter end, well, that's the grass. You can see there when I click around. And if I click in the darker areas of the coat, yeah, you can see the little line moving around on the graph, and this smaller heightened area in the graph, that's being caused by the shadows on the coat. Well, we can use that information to our advantage. I want to affect these areas around here first of all. So if I hold down Control on a PC, Command on a Mac, and click, it puts a point onto the curve. That's the point that I want to affect. All right, let's give that a try then. I'll move it up, and yeah, I can see there's more detail in the shadows now. I'm starting to lose a little bit of what I want in the face. The reason being is I'm getting this shallow area around here. Now the face is midtones, right about where that point is. So I'm going to get rid of this point for a second. I'm going to put a point about here. That will stop this part of the graph getting affected too much by what I'm doing down here. And also I think I need to make small movements, so I'm going to click in the area, and instead of dragging around with my mouse, I'm going to use my arrow keys. I'm going to start hitting the up arrow key, and that just nudges the point up slightly, and I'm getting more detail in the shadows. But also, because I put this anchor point here, the mid areas, things like the face, aren't being affected. That is much more powerful than you'd ever get with levels. Now I'm happy with the overall brightness of the image. I've got more detail in the darker areas, and overall the picture is a little bit less bright. I've still got this problem though with this really intense green, and also, to be honest, the colours of the coat, they're a little bit dull. They could do with being a slightly brighter blue. So see this little box here where it says value, the channel? Click on it. You've got three other channels here. You've got red, green, and blue. So you see my graph here? Take a look at it when I change from the value channel to, say, the red channel. Different graph. That is a graph of all the reds in the picture. We've also got its own dedicated line which we can fill out with. We've got green. Yep, that's where all my bright greens are. That's where some of the dark greens are. And blue, yeah, we've definitely got much more blues in the lower end, which makes sense because we've got this dark blue coat here. So let's see what we can do with this. Let's go to that green channel. My biggest problem was with the green, so I'll go to the green channel first. Now, again, I can click around, find where these values are, and yes, it's in that large spike in the graph. So I'm going to click on a point there, and I'm going to start to drag it down to reduce the intensity of the pixels at that point. And yeah, I'm getting a much more natural look to the green there. It's also helping the face to become a more natural colour as well. I'm losing some of the greenish cast on the face. All right, I can live with that. Now let's take a look at the blue channel. Yeah, a lot of darker areas around here. Let's click around various different parts of the blue coat, and yeah, it's that whole area, that whole dark area here. So I'm going to put a point here, and I'm going to up that slightly, and we're getting a more vibrant blue. It's starting to affect some of the tone on the face, so I'm going to put another point and drag that down here to isolate the coat area. Alright, let's take a look at the red channel. Right, well, I've got that bright plastic thing in the background. That's looking very bright. Could I take that down a little bit? I don't know. Let's take a look. No, I'm starting to make the overall picture a little bit colder there. It was a bright sunny day. I'd like to remember it as being warm. So I'm going to leave that for now and click on the OK box. And let's compare that with the original. Oh, definite difference there. You've got very bright greens there, not enough contrast, greenish tone to the face. Look at the treated image. That was done all in one go, just using curves. I didn't use the levels, then the color balance, then the saturation. I could get it all done, all within curves. A lot of professionals like using curves because it's an all-in-one solution. They're also extremely powerful and they can be extremely precise. I've heard them compared to a surgeon's knife. Well, yeah, they're like a surgeon's knife and they can heal if you have a clear idea of what you're doing. But like a surgeon's knife, if you don't know what you're doing with them, you probably end up doing more damage than good. Okay, so compare them with the other 4 tools that we used. We used color balance, hue saturation, very briefly, brightness and contrast, and also levels. It does it all in one go. If curves are a surgeon's knife, then those 4 tools together are like a Swiss Army knife. You've got various different tools, each one doing a separate job. It can be easier to think about your job in terms of getting the overall brightness and contrast right first with levels, then move on to the color balance box, then move on to the saturation levels and tweak around. Or you can use curves. You can take the safety belt off and do it all in one go. Whichever one you choose to do, your choice, as long as you end up with a good picture at the end of it. It's all good. I hope you got something out of this video. If you did, maybe you consider clicking on one of the links below and check out my game called Disco Baby, which is on the iTunes Store or Android stores like Google Play. It has 3 different games in it, a memory game, a maths game for children, and a dance along with me game for toddlers to join in with. Thanks for your time.